Hi all, welcome to Soul's Journey. And just kind of some ramblings today. I was watching Casper over at the BoyDiviner's latest video this morning on his Oracle deck collection, and he mentioned that people are leaving some really unkind comments about him using oracles. Calling him stupid and shallow, and I was really appalled. I mean, there is no reason for that, and nobody has the right to tell anybody else what they can and can't do. I've made it clear myself that I am not a huge Oracle fan myself, but that doesn't mean that other people don't find value in them. I do have some oracles, although I will admit they mostly sit on the shelves and gather dust. I don't really use them. I have a couple that I like that I do pull out once in a while. I just got the Faceted Garden Oracle from Claire Mack. Is that in focus? I don't have my glasses on, I can't tell. And I got this mostly because I like Claire's art. I think I've got a walkthrough of this from when I first got it. And so I'll just show a few here real quick. But another one that I do like, which again I don't really use, is the Vintage Wisdom Oracle. Is that focused? There we go. By Victoria Mosley, who is now deceased, unfortunately. Sorry for all the ums. And I do like it, but I honestly don't really use it very often. When I think of oracles, when I feel like pulling out an oracle deck, this is one that I tend to think of. It's got some very nice art. And that's a lot of the reason that I do collect decks, is because I like the art. And, you know, Casper was talking about that as well, that he really likes the art in a lot of these decks that he has. And that's fine. That's, you know, that's a perfectly valid reason to collect whatever. You know, these are little works of art that most of us, you know, we can't afford thousands of dollars of, you know, high art canvases hanging on our walls. But that said, I have to admit, I do find most oracle decks extremely underwhelming. Like in particular, all the, what I call the pretty women decks that are just pictures of pretty women with some random words slapped on the bottom, and the picture doesn't seem to have any bearing on it. And frankly, I don't know how anybody reads with those things. I get nothing from it. And Casper was saying sort of the same thing, although he likes the art in a lot of his decks. He can't read with them. It just doesn't connect. And I have often thought that people would do probably as well to like go to the store and buy a couple of magazines and just cut out pictures of things that you like and slap them on those blank tarot cards that you can get, or, you know, some kind of cardboard or index cards or whatever. You know, like I've got the latest issue of the AAA magazine from my area. You know, beautiful images. And I think you could, you know, probably put together, like, you know, we got an older lady who's on oxygen. You know, that might work. You know, you might have to like scan them into a computer and Photoshop them down to a size that you want. croquet mallet and balls. I mean, you know, there's just all kinds of weirdo random images that might work beautifully for an oracle deck. Like I said, you probably have to, you know, manipulate the photos a bit. I found a couple of others in the back. Like, this is such a weird random little assortment here. This is a children's amusement park down by Salem here in Oregon called the Enchanted Forest. And it's got all these weird little houses and miniature like village that you kids can run through and play in and stuff. And it's really kind of fun. I haven't been there in a very long time, but you know. So, I mean, you get the idea. You just make up your own oracle deck if that's what you like. And I don't know, it's just, I was just so horrified that people were saying such terrible things to Casper. And I mean, he's very open about the fact that he's new to all this and he's just learning. And he's starting to collect more books, which is good. I think there's probably more value in the books than there is in the cards. And in fact, somebody else, Annika, nobody here, had made a very similar comment. And I've been thinking a lot about that lately myself with my own collection, is that I think part of the reason I've been collecting so many decks is looking for that knowledge. And I've recently come to realize that I would do better to be investing in more books as well. That very often the books are what I want, and maybe not so much the cards. And I'm kind of winding down my collecting habit. I think I have still 9 decks that I'm waiting for that I backed on Kickstarter, like either early this year or sometime last year, that still haven't come in because of the COVID thing. But I had a whole bunch of decks like on pre-order, and a couple that I was backing on Kickstarter a few months ago that I went in and I canceled all the pre-orders, and I canceled a couple of Kickstarter campaigns that I was initially backing, because I found I know what's going to happen. I'm going to get those decks, I'm going to look through them, and I'm going to put them on the shelf, and I'll probably never touch them again. I have a ridiculous amount of decks as it is. I'm close to something like 230 decks now. And I'm really thinking about starting to thin out the collection. I'm not sure which ones I'm going to want to let go or when. I've had a couple of people approach me recently and ask to buy decks that I have, and not quite ready to let those go yet. So, but they're both, I think they were both able to get copies elsewhere. So I don't feel too bad about that. But it's just, I don't know, I'm kind of done with the collecting. There's just nothing out there that's really like, yes, I have to have that. You know, it's just, I guess I have so many now that that urge, that itch to collect is kind of satisfied. So anyway, like I said, I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing with this channel. Excuse me for a second. I'm having some asthma issues this afternoon. So I'm not sure what I'm going to be focusing on here. Like I said, I do have a few more decks coming in, so I'll do walkthroughs of those when I get them. But I would really like to start doing other things here. And I think that's probably going to disappoint some people, because the videos that I've put up where I'm kind of previewing upcoming decks, those tend to get more views than anything. So I'll probably lose a bunch of subscribers, but you know, and that's fine. Go on and, you know, do your thing. Find whatever it is you're interested in. I can't keep collecting decks like this. I'm just kind of over it. I have enough decks now that I've got one for like every mood and just about one for every day of the year. Almost, not quite. But yeah, so I've been doing a lot of reading, and I'm still kind of working through this book, this Tarot for Transformation by Andy Matzner. Sorry, I keep forgetting his name. So I was reading the Strength card, and he makes some really interesting observations here. Talking about whatever the lion represents, the maiden finds it necessary to forestall its efforts. What if the lion is that aspect of ourselves that is self-critical, and the maiden is our soul, our divine spark, which knows that we are perfect as we are? Of course, there is a struggle between the two, but in this card, self-kindness wins. And that's nice. And that, I think that's more of what I want to focus on, is really diving into the meanings of the cards like this. And he has some really good quotes in this chapter too. I don't know if any of you guys went and got this book, but you know, even if you're not dealing with a lot of issues, I think there's a lot of value in here. He's got a quote by Carl Jung: "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." And what was the other one I liked so much? Okay, yeah, right in the beginning, the first page of the chapter. Excuse me. "We are not here to fit in, be well-balanced, or provide exempla for others. We are here to be eccentric, different, perhaps strange, perhaps merely to add our small piece, our little clunky, chunky selves to the great mosaic of being. As the gods intended, we are here to become more and more ourselves." James Hollis. So I think that was kind of fitting because, you know, Casper and everybody else is just doing their own thing, and I don't think there's any reason to be unkind to people who are walking their path and trying to find themselves and learning and growing. And, you know, who knows where Casper's journey or any of our journey is going to take us eventually. So anyway, that's my 2 cents because that really bugged me this morning. So on that note, I thought I would pull a card from the lovely Victorian Romantic Tarot by Baba Studios. Just give it a quick shuffle here. Okay, beautiful, the World. This is the one with the cold stamping on it. So go forth into the world and be yourself and be more yourself and become more yourself, and don't worry about what other people think. Do your own thing, and I'm sure we'll all be fine. So anyway, take care, and I will talk to you soon. Blessed be.